This week, a new law assigning an official point of contact for every child in Scotland was challenged in court. Legislation passed in February would mean that a named person would be responsible for a youngster's welfare up to the age of 18. But there's been criticism of it, with claims it's an unwanted intrusion into family life. In the Highlands, they've been running a system like this for some time, and Bill Alexander, Director of Care and Learning with the Council, says they are seeing positive results.
Head teachers and health visitors want to support families. That's why they're in the jobs. And what it means is that not only are more children getting early responses, but also less children become vulnerable. What's happened in Highland is that other professionals have responded more appropriately when a head teacher or a midwife or a health visitor has said that a family is seeking support. So that means we have fewer children being referred to the children's reporter. We have fewer children who are at risk of significant harm. We have fewer looked after children, and we've got less young people committing offences. Now, those are very positive outcomes. It means there are fewer vulnerable children, and I'm sure that must be welcomed by everyone.
Well, joining me here in the studio is Anne Cannon, who's a mum of 5, under 18, and she's from Glasgow. And also we have listening Kate Higgins, who's a blogger and commentator and also a mother as well. I'm going to come to you first, Anne. Do you agree with this idea of a state guardian for every child?
No, I don't.
And what's your problem with it?
I think that in law at the moment, the state has sufficient people, the piece before mentioned midwives, teachers, etc. I don't see that those people can at the moment actually make referrals where necessary. The previous piece spoke about people being offered help. I don't see why parents at the moment, many of them do speak to the midwife, health visitor, school. If they feel that they actually need help, they can self-refer as it is. I would challenge the notion that there are fewer children who are being seen by panels, etc., because of this policy. I don't agree with the fact that everyone should automatically be allocated a named person. There should be an option for parents or indeed young people to refer themselves and request a named person, or if the people we've spoken about, midwives, health visitors, teachers, etc., if they feel there is a need for a named person, they should be able to ask that a named person be appointed because they have concerns about vulnerability.
OK, let's bring in Kate Higgins, blogger and commentator. Kate, why do we need a scheme like this in your view?
Well, I think just picking up on what Anne had to say, she's absolutely right that professionals should be doing this as a matter of course. They should be available to parents and children. And in the vast majority of cases, this is what confident and professionals do every day of their lives in terms of providing a point of contact. But what the law now does is it makes a duty, that it's a legal duty on all professionals working with all children to provide this central point of contact. And that actually gives parents more rights rather than less. Because at the moment, if you do have a query or request some help from your health visitor or school, they don't necessarily need to act on it. So now you have a named person to go to, and you can insist on getting the advice and support that you need to help with your parenting. But equally, for the most vulnerable children, the children who need our help the most in society, they are now better protected because there are duties on professionals to act early, to share information, and to make sure that they are doing their best to protect children from harm. And, you know, the phrase a state guardian, this is a misrepresentation of what it is. It's a point of contact amongst professionals who are, on the whole, are doing this job anyway. But what it does is it provides a statutory basis for all children. Just picking up on Anne's point about, well, it should apply just to those children who need it. There's something about making sure that all our children have the best support and the right support at the right time. And that can happen to families at any time in their lives. It's not just being able to pinpoint families at a particular stage in their lives that they might need some support. Things happen, and sadly that can upset things for children and families, and we need to make sure that at any point we can protect and provide the support that children need in order to have a better start in life.
But we already have so much support in place already. Is there not a danger that by giving one person, one named person, that responsibility almost, that person could also then be pulled up and held responsible when things do, as they occasionally do, go terribly wrong?
But why wouldn't we want that to happen?
Is that too much of a responsibility to put upon one health visitor who's been named, allocated one child who she might not end up having a huge amount of contact with?
Well, I suppose if there are concerns about a child, then all professionals should be making sure and prioritising which children need their care and attention the most, and in most cases that happens. And as has been seen in Highland, by having this central point of contact, they're not alone. They are simply a named point of contact, and it enables them, though they also have powers now to insist upon other professionals working with them, making sure that they are all aware of concerns about a child, and so it creates a much more rounded picture. It means that families and children can get the support they need as and when, and it should actually provide more support to key professionals in children's lives, not less.
OK, coming back to you again, Anne Cannon, would it not be good to provide this continuity of care that can often be lacking? You'll know from having 5 pregnancies yourself. I've had 3, and seeing one person during a pregnancy, for example, can make a huge difference. So is there not a great amount of weight behind the idea that to have one person to go to who you know and you can establish a relationship with is really important?
But that's in an ideal world. Through my pregnancies, I don't think in any one of my pregnancies I saw the same person, and the same can be said for health visitors when your children are preschool, and likewise when your children are actually at school. Head teachers come and go, health visitors come and go. If I can just go back to a word that's been used by yourself and Kate, professionals. These are professionals. Our teachers are professionals, and they are bound by the regulations. They sign up, but they have to be authorised by the General Teaching Council of Scotland. And within those regulations, there is already a duty of care on teachers to actually look out for the needs of children. And whether it's teachers, doctors, social workers, health visitors, if people at present are actually not coming up to the standard that is required of them as professionals, then that is something that their organisation and their employer has to take responsibility for. Those people that are actually not doing the job that they have put themselves forward to do, or indeed that they're being paid to do.
Okay.
But if I can just speak about, there are obviously some children in society who are incredibly vulnerable, who do need that support, and in that instance I don't understand why a named person can't be appointed. It would be the same outcome, or indeed why it can't be requested. But the one aspect that concerns me about this is that within my own family, my children are all different at different times. Each one of them has given me concerns. I am the type of person who shares quite a lot with the school, but obviously that's measured. A great deal of that is kept private. But there are instances where perhaps I have held things back because these are private matters that I don't feel there's a need to actually share.
Okay.
But what worries me is the power shift in the existing relationships that we have, that it's not by consent, and that does change the power within the relationship. And those relationships can already be quite difficult. And this, I think, will actually make a lot of those relationships more difficult.
OK, Anne, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in, and also to Kate Higgins for joining us.